This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, it's already in May. That is pretty quick. Welcome all for joining us today. We will wait for a couple of minutes for more people to join. Today our agenda is pretty brief. And I hope all of you are geared and ready for the OCP summit next week. Our subgroup prepared quite a bit for the summit in next week.
Definitely, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
That's a whole day event?
It's actually a 4-day event.
4 days event.
Yeah. Specifically for our work group, our workshop is just a half day. Yeah, and then we do have some demo that run throughout the 4 days. Later we can talk a little bit about that. Okay, we have 14 person. Yeah. Let's wait another minute and we'll start. Okay, someone is asking me whether they should go for the experience training or not. Experience center training.
Yeah, tell them to go tomorrow.
Yeah. That is our thermal engineer. Okay, I think let's start. It's already May. Today we're gonna have a couple agenda. The first one will be we'll talk about the virtual global summit workshop, followed by the experience lab, and then we will have signal integrity update. And then I actually propose that we have another working session to close some items. We'll share later. And last but not least, I would like to share our for hey Eli, can you mute for a moment? Thank you. And then for our OCP Experience Lab, we do have a booth opening video representing the whole subgroup. I would like to share it with our members here before it goes live publicly next week, because I do believe we are not here without our members. Yep. And talking more about the workshop, I think yeah, just now there's someone asking about the what's the event. So we do have a couple workshop sessions. Like I believe some of people here are the presenters, and we have those are actually on the Thursday 14 morning. But a good thing about virtual summit is, well, the recording will be there for, I believe, for a year. So this is the time that it starts, and there's a time that we have a live Q&A. But if you miss it, it's still possible to review those later, but without the Q&A. Our workshop section is called Nick and his PC. It's actually all of them are Nick session except the last one related to HPC. So yeah, do come and support us. And next, I will let April talk more about the experience lab that she and Elad helped to prepare.
Yeah, so we've been collaborating with a lot of different companies. Do you want me to just show the actual experience lab?
The actual one?
Yeah.
Sure, I can do that.
So this is what it's going to look like. So we have all our participants on the left there, and then you can see there's the video button. You can click Damien. And
Yep.
has everybody's videos in there that everybody worked hard on putting together. And then I think we have 42 people who are going to be staffing our booth, which is great. We're trying to figure out the best way to get everybody, oh, there they are, get everybody able to answer the questions that they need to be answering. So it's definitely coming together. Great that everybody's been able to participate. And then there'll be a chat option there that people can use to ask us questions or that kind of thing. So yeah, coming together.
Okay, great. And next, I would like to invite Samit to talk about the signal integrity update, especially around the PCI Gen 5. Samit, you want to share? Samit, you there? You're on mute if you're speaking.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I was on mute.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so far, like at a high level, so the working group, in the SI working group, so we got last month we reviewed, so Intel and Dell actually shared their analysis, the channel loss analysis, and so both from the platform side and on the next side. So far, so we're looking at both for the large form factor and the short form factor. In the short form factor, so I can share
Samit,
I
yeah,
can share the summary table.
yeah, you probably want to share that to guide the discussion.
Yeah, let me do that. Okay, let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, so so we had we had actually both from the platform side and on the next side. So we had actually so this was from, so Dell shared theirs, and this is HPE, and so so far what we are looking at is, so we looked at from the platform analysis, the it is looking like, I think the analysis is showing somewhere between minus 5.5 to minus 8 dB loss budget for the add-in card. So this is for the short form factor. And if you look at the analysis on the next side, which is Intel has been very helpful in their sharing their analysis, and we looked at both the short form factor and the long form factor. And in the short form factor, the analysis is showing about minus 8 dB, and the large form factor is showing about minus 10 dB. But this is based on the preliminary analysis. There's further refinements needs to be done. April can talk a little bit more about fine tuning, which Intel is working on to further bring it down. So, but in summary, I think there's a high confidence for the large form factor for the NIC. There, there's a high confidence of meeting minus 9.5 dB, which is similar to what PCI SIG CHEM form factor has. For short form factor, minus 8 dB might be doable. That's what the analysis is showing. And so this is still, and this and these numbers kind of also align with Marvell and with Marvell's internal analysis. So far the NIC analysis, that's what it is indicating. That said, So based on our discussions last month, so there are still some open items which we want to close out, especially around around the assumptions which are being made, which we have made to make sure that everything is well understood. Like especially on the package losses, the package losses, the traces, how the traces are, the connector loss. So there are still some ambiguities in that aspect, and so the plan is, so the proposal from the working group is to actually um, kind of solicit feed inputs from the work from all the members in the SI working group to make sure that we have the right set of assumptions and right set of components identified to make sure that everyone is on the same page and how the budget is being evaluated for to determine this end-to-end loss budget. So the gist is, so there's still some discrepancy between what the expectations on the platform side versus on the next side. So
Yeah, and from analysis, it looks like HPE is out of the woods. That is good, and their platform is still a little bit open. There's still quite a bit of gap.
yeah,
2.5 dB is not small.
correct. So the difference is not the difference is significant enough that we need
Yeah.
further discussions on this. And especially like if you see that there are deltas between like the assumptions on the endpoint package loss being made. I think on the Dell side it's about like minus 2.5 dB. With Nick was saying minus 3.5 dB.
Eric, are you planning on presenting something? Because it just switched to your screen. Is it by mistake or you want to share something? Okay, we lost your screen. Can you reshare, submit?
Okay, let me reshare it.
So one thing I will say, I just heard from Robert Bentley, who's been doing simulations for Intel, and he's been talking with the package team. And so far, we haven't been able to get them to commit to lower than 3.5.
Good news.
Okay, so that at least we are kind of, yeah, that's a good. So that's one part of it. Yeah, I think there's still more. I think we need. So those conversations are still happening within the SI working group to align on this. Any questions?
No questions, but I would like to call for action for more platform vendors and NIC vendors to provide data, so we know where to cut the pie between the NIC and the platform, because at this time we only have very limited information. I suggest for us that have data, that have designs, that let's provide data in this kind of format, so it's easier for me to collect the information and put it in the tabular format.
Okay, that would definitely be helpful. Thanks, Damien. So if we can get, especially on the NIC side, if we can get at least couple of more data points, or at least one more data point to get to make sure that it's all aligned. I know Mellanox has been working. Is Elad online? Okay, Elad is there. Elad, I'm not sure if you have any updates on the Mellanox. I know Wasim had been working on it.
Hi, Samit.
Hey, Elad.
Sorry, I missed your question.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I know Wasim had been working on some of the channel loss analysis for Nick.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if there was any updates you could share.
Okay, I did not prepare updates for this session. Let me get back to the team and I'll feed in the inputs via email.
Okay, that'll be
Thank you.
awesome. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Lal.
Smith.
Yeah, I think yeah, you also can present it in the SI working group for discussion. The one usually we had it in the third week of each month.
Yes.
Yeah, good that it's not second week because second week now is OCP summit, so we don't miss it.
Oh yeah, I need to figure that out. Yeah. Good.
So I think it's a good segue that into the next topic I want to discuss with the team here. Let me reshare my screen, which I think we in the past month or two we have been spending a lot of time on preparation for the summit. Now things are locked and loaded. I think it's about time for us to go back on some of the things that we left it open in our Rep 1 spec, and it's probably a good time to talk about it. And another one is like maybe we have also a half-day working session that even cover SI2, just like our previous working session. If you are open to that idea, there's something that we can do as well. So I propose we have another working session, preferably held in the afternoon, given the time zone difference between the central folks and also Pacific folks. However, I do understand like we have Israel attendees and like you all, but I'm not sure. Probably 2 hours doesn't make a lot of difference between the time
Kind
zone
of
for you.
very East Coast, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah. So I suggest that we have in the afternoon. And then I do propose a little bit of pre-work to be done before we meet up, so we can have a little bit more time.
Afternoon West Coast time is the worst for me because it guarantees to be middle of the night. So if you can have early morning session, I'll appreciate it.
Okay, early morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 10 hours ahead, so imagine what it means to PM for me.
Oh, okay. That is very bad. Yeah.
So early morning, not afternoon.
Okay. And then yeah, I propose we have some kind of pre-work, but then also we should list the reason why I put some of here is item is empty. I believe we have more things we want to talk about. We can put it in this meeting. We can, and then we'll sort priority based on that. I don't think one half-day working session we will cover all, but I think we should start with one and then have another moving forward. So that's why I actually have a pool rows here. It's not one session itself. And I propose we use GoToMeeting, like a standard one like this, or Zoom, mainly because I think these two tools are more suitable for a larger audience.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to pick your first I'll go through a few of this, and then I would like to pick our brains to see whether any other items that we are not listed here for discussion. The reason why I added the LED brightness methodology is something that we identified during Rep 1. This area we will work on, but not ready end of last year, so we defer it. So I think we should talk about that. And yeah.
I would like you to add fixing the scan chain definition. Okay. There is a flaw there, it's a known one, and there is a need to do some kind of update to the spec. Hopefully we'll have that update soon.
Is this something that we need to discuss or we know what to fix?
No, we know exactly what to fix. We are supposed to get a proposal for the fix soon from the relevant author. I hope to have it soon. If not, we may be able to do that on our own if needed.
Okay. It looks like something quick. Yeah, I think we can put it in. By the way, we can list everything and then we list my priority. Not necessarily all these things has to be covered
Cool.
in the first section. Yeah. Yeah. Same technique hot plot is something that we put it out in the response spec. I think it's almost time to get some compliance working. We have pretty good compliance from the thermal side, pretty good compliance from the electrical SI, PCIe side, and we really have a sideband board. So it's time to get some discussion up there and get this piece going. Taller SFF, I put it in, but I'm not sure whether they are really the priority. But I think this taller SFF kind of go together with our PCI Gen 5. If you are not aware that our form factor today unable to support a single QSFP-DD the connector given the form factor that we have. Our initial spec works up to PCI Gen 4. So if you run QSFP with PAM4, we can do 200G to that port. But once you move to Gen 5, PCI by 16 lane Gen 5, and you want to use one port, if it's one just QSFP-DD, that will be the pairing, and that our spec will not be able to support. So when we look into scaling the PCIe front, we might want to look into scaling the small form factor to support QSFP-DD as well. This is more like we'll have a discussion, but we might not have a solution right away. And by the way, I think this priority is probably not as high as some of the things we're working on. Any more ideas from the team regarding what you want to see to cover in the working session? Thomas, I see you unmuted. Is something that you want to talk? Okay. If not, let's sort by priority before we go back to the dates. I think even for date, we probably send out email to see which is the best day for everyone. As for priority,
One quick question,
yeah,
Damien.
yeah,
So do you want to also talk about? I think that at some point you wanted to talk about discuss about the other functions to be on this OCP NIC form factor.
yeah.
So I don't know if that going on at some other forum or.
That is actually not going on in some other forum. It's just that the plan was to announce it in the virtual OCP and then try to get some folks to join us in the group, then we can have discussion. So because I think our group at this time is primarily NIC, and then I believe our first booking session will be still primary NIC folks. Of course, there are platform folks too, but if you don't get some kind of like accelerated folks to join that working session, it is hard to discuss the changes around the area. But I believe there's something that our group want to pursue, at least investigate. But then we need to get the right folks in before we can have a real meaningful discussion around that area.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Samir, since you brought it up, do you want to talk about PCI Gen 5 budget split in this, or we can just let SI worker handle?
When are we targeting for this discussion, virtual session? Is there?
I don't
We
think
can
we talked about date yet,
yeah,
but
we can add that as a placeholder. Yeah, PCI Gen 5 budget.
okay.
Let's add that as a placeholder.
Yeah. My initial thought is maybe end of the month so that we have some time to work on the pre-work, but it is really about what the team thinks and whether we can complete the pre-work before our working session. I would like to solicit feedback.
So you plan on May 10th?
No, end of the month.
End of the month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, May 10 will be very hard for everyone. But again, this is most important that we are available for discussion. There's no point if we set a date, there's no one there, there's no point.
Right. So
Yeah.
maybe you can open kind of a doodle poll, so providing some potential dates so we can get the survey for availability from everyone, including those not on the call today.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll probably open Google form and have some of the dates there, and also people can propose new dates. So we gather inputs on that. As an online session, I would like to get the group's help to sort out the priority of the topic here. Please speak up. For LED brightness, my personal thought is since they are related to spec, I think we should, and we left it in the left one as open, I believe we should close it. I think it should be one, but I would like to hear a feedback from the team.
Okay. If possible, I'll also prefer to have the scan chain fix as high priority as well because it's a bug.
Yes.
Spec.
Yes, agree. I think the tallest mode form factor is not so important at this time, so I'm proposing a lower priority.
What's the content of the full register compliance?
Full register compliance is a compliance program we intend to have to check all the mandatory rules are being programmed appropriately. So it's more like talking about what kind of register that we want to make sure that it's being programmed.
Because the full, if I get it correctly, is an EPROM, right?
Yes,
no,
it's EPROM.
it's maybe kind of, you mean the layout and the content?
Yeah, the
Right.
layout and some of the mandatory fields have to be filled up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the term register is a bit.
Yeah, with some register, and it's kind of used the same sideband board that Dell developed to do that. So that board kind of checks the sideband and signals as well as the full register.
And what about sideband compliance? What do you mean by that?
So the sideband, is sideband, I believe is the scan chain, the NCSI.
One of the problems with sideband interfaces is that there is no really standard that you can use in order to verify, for example, electrical or timing parameters on those. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, actually, I would like to get Darren Yuanish out on this area to guide us. What I think there are certain things we can do, especially we spec our NCSI lang and timing in there, right? But how to make sure that we are compliant. Yeah. So those are things that we spec. I think we should have a way to measure them. I mean, if we don't have a way to measure them, we might as well not to mention in the spec.
Yeah, because if you define a spec, you need to have a well defined testing circuit to verify
Correct.
that.
Yes, that's exactly what we intend to do. And that some of the things that we know we have a spec, but we are unable to measure, like LED. This is something similar. I think we should have a
LED
way.
is trivial. But more sophisticated interfaces which involve protocols and all that joy is going to be more challenging.
Yeah, I think electrical there are certain ways.
Yeah, electrical is
Yeah.
kind of straightforward, but if you talk about timings, you need to generate the traffic, so it's a bit more challenging.
hmm And mechanical compliance is really the keep in keep out
Yeah.
fixture that we're talking about.
Yeah. How many people are really interested in hot plug?
I would say it's maybe not a lot. Because I think hot plug only makes sense when you have more than one NIC in the system. I know some system I can share. Basically, you will see later too. Facebook actually have a system that contributing to OCP that has two NICs. But I believe this is probably not the majority of the other people implementations. Yeah, I think it's not that very important. But then our spec did call it out and did say it's support, but it's actually kind of loose, not very well defined. If
Yeah, this side does not really include any support spec-wise for hot plug.
yeah, I kind of think that we have insufficient guidance for the NIC hot plug, but it is also not as important because a lot of people did not implement it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying that if we want to claim that we can hot plug, we may want to patch some of the definition in our spec.
Okay.
Yeah. At this point, I propose we put priority 1 for NIC hot plug as well, because it isn't, we spec it in, but it's not complete. How about others? How about other members? Do you have any input on any of this? Maybe start with the easier one. Samit, what do you think about PCI Gen 5 discussion? How important is it?
Uh, I think the Gen 5, the SFF probably makes sense to have that in the view because there is some discussions. I think there's some platforms which are getting ready for power up by the end of this year or something like that. So it'll be good to have those formalized for the short form factor.
Okay, so basically, maybe I will not say priority. Maybe, yeah, it's kind of priority too. Urgency priority. So it's something that we're gonna close pretty soon, right?
So we need to have that because that's the understanding at this point in the SI working group. I think there's some platforms which are being targeted for power up later end of the year.
Hmm.
And also if there's dependencies on the some of the design choices, especially on the ASIC side, so that might need to be discussed.
Yeah.
So probably our NIC vendors can help provide more guidance on the priority as well. How far are we on on the endpoint from the endpoint perspective. Anyone from Mellanox or Marvel? Have any thoughts? Or Intel? I know April was there. Elad.
I believe that the lad dropped.
I,
One of those kind of less energetical.
I agree. It's something that should be figured out sooner rather than later.
Mhm. Okay, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Thank.
I think mechanical compliance should be discussed because I don't think we get a lot of traction on this area. So I believe we should be discussing how do we close this. We don't have the fixture yet. I think we need a way to close this. For sideband and through, given Dell and UNH is I couldn't see, is John on here? I don't think John is here. Yeah, I think for this the priority. I know Mike is Mike Kembla here, right? MK is Mike.
Yep, I'm
Mike,
here.
do we need a discussion on the full and the sideband using the fixture that Dell John provided?
No, I think our student Josh has been working on it, and I think he's close to completing it. So I'll follow up with him, but I think it seems like it should be working in a working state soon.
Okay. How about we determine that after we know the working state? Because if it's not working, there is no. I don't think we can talk much yet.
Sure.
Let's put that as question mark. Yeah. For at least the items with urgency priority number 1, I would like to get some lead company to work on it, and then discuss within a smaller group, get some ideas and maybe even solution proposal. For LED brightness, who can help to contribute? Or maybe I open up the whole thing. Who can help to raise hand and contribute on any of these items so I can fill it up first?
Intel can be involved in the LED brightness methodology.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. That's a good start.
And PCIe Gen 5 budget.
Great.
I can work on the scan chain if needed.
Nice. I think this one, frankly, should be Facebook, Chris. I'll talk to him in my one-on-one today. Okay. I will solicit feedback from the rest through email from a few more items. Okay. For the people on the line, what do you think about? I think we should put out at least 2 days for people to vote against and also accept other proposal. But it is something some date that we want to put out. Because I don't think we should keep it very open-ended and ask. Then we will get like 50 answers.
I propose you really open a doodle poll regarding the dates and time slots, and then we'll see what's feasible and what's not feasible for people.
Okay. Your proposal is
quite a
totally
few of the
open.
not on the call today would like to participate on at least some of these sessions, and we need to hear them.
Yep. Yeah, true. Okay. Let's do that then. Yep. Yeah, last but not least, I want to show a video that for our opening, and we will end with this.
We do not hear anything, Damien.
Oh, you couldn't hear anything?
No. I guess it only plays your mic and not your speaker to us or whatever.
I see. If that the case, I probably just scroll it through. Like basically, we have a slide talking about our group, and then we have a slide talking about how we progress from initially the Mezz 0.5 all the way to 3.0. And then we have something to talk about OCP NIC 3.0 NIC in very short and concise manner. And then we talk about some of our future items we're going to look at. And this is more like call for action. Hey, if you're interested in this kind of thing, please join us. And you can see each slide actually presented by a different company in our group. And last but not least, we tell about a simple introduction of all our demos in the booth. And that's why we close. We have a very short 5 minutes, close to 6 minutes, a video as a cover and to introduce our group. Hope you can join us next week. That's all I have for today. Yeah. Any last minute question that we want to cover before we end? Okay. If not, then stay safe, and we'll see you in the OCP Summit next week. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.